This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
and it's live.
Hello, fellow Fox fans. How are we feeling? It's close. You can almost smell Wembley. Can the Foxes go better than one place better than last season and get to the semis? And can we get revenge for the old Champions League decider against Man United last season? Or will Man United do what they've done every game bar one since we got promoted back to the Premier League and not let us win? We'll find out tomorrow. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. It's the preview show.
You are watching and listening to the preview show on Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums.
You are indeed. And as you can see below, there's 3 places you can find us. You can find us on the old YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. Please, if you are watching there, or even if you're not, get onto it, search Leicester Till I Die TV and give us a subscribe. We would be forever grateful. Of course, Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group, and Twitter at Leicester TID. Get in, let us know your thoughts. How are you feeling about the match tomorrow? Give us your score predictions. What do you think old Brendan's going to do with his team? We've had a week off. They were playing last night. Unfortunately, it didn't go to extra time. It's a shame that. Would have been nice, wouldn't it? Extra time and penalties. Knacker them out a little bit. Talking about knackering out, let's welcome in my chat chum here for the evening. As always, on a preview show, it's Craig. Good evening, Craig.
Good evening, Chris. I am the knackered one. I won't say anything about you being in the knacker's yard, but I am the knackered one.
That's where you find me most weeks.
Yeah, I must admit, I am loving the shirt, the retro. I did, when I first saw you, I did think, bloody hell, Ewan Roberts has let himself go. But I think you're rocking it very well.
It's funny though, isn't it? You do actually, and we're all different, but we do actually associate one player with a particular shirt. I mean, you know, if I was to wear the blue one of this, I would almost think of Steve Parker. No, Gary Parker. Sorry, Gary Parker. Because, you know, that's the one player I remember wearing the blue shirt.
It's funny how it's funny how our shirt can make you forget the name of a player. It's strange.
It's been a stressful day. I've had to sort out my daughter's parking ticket. Bournemouth Pool Christ. Now you've started me off. Now Bournemouth Pool Christchurch Council today. Well, they're trying to get rid of the titles Mr. and Mrs. and replace it with MX. Yeah. So I would no longer be Mr. Forian. I would be MX Forian, despite me filling in my census as Mr. Forian. But hey, that's the Liberal Democrats for you, isn't it? You know. Let's say good evening to
you can identify as whatever you want. You can,
I
identify as you and Robert if you want.
One day I'm hoping, I said before, one day I am hoping that you will come on wearing a shirt. You do let the side down here. I'm sure there's one out there that will fit you. You know I jest. Let's say good afternoon, good evening to Grandad Chappie. How the devil are you, sir? Welcome along, and thanks for joining us on YouTube. Give us a like there, and give us a subscribe if you're on YouTube. Join the group. So we've got this coming up, Craig, on Sunday the 21st. King Power, 5:00. But at least it's on the BBC One or the iPlayer. If you wish to sort of get yourself annoyed, you can listen to Talk Sport, BBC Radio Leicester if that's your thing, or if you're outside of the old Leicester boundaries, lcfc.com, and with Matt Elliott and friends doing the coverage. They're a bit of a bogey team for us, aren't they?
Yeah, we haven't done well against them for quite a while now, have we? I mean, we got the draw earlier in the season, but I can't remember us getting one over them in any game of importance for quite a while now. They have become a bogey team, and I think it seems like it's we kind of go into the game with an inferiority complex.
Oh, you still with us, Craig?
I'm still there.
Sorry, you froze for a moment
here,
there.
sorry.
You're here, there, you're everywhere.
I have.
Yeah, since we got promoted in 14-15, we've actually played 14 times. We've only won 1. We've drawn 4. Man United have won 0. I mean, it was a good one that we won. Obviously, it was the 5-3, but that was the first time we played them. And since then, it's all gone a bit tits up.
Yeah, as I say, it's like we do have this inferiority complex, or since we've had Brendan, we seem to set up in a quite a defensive mode, and as if we're trying to stop them more than impose ourselves. But I mean, it was interesting to hear Brendan say in his pre-match show earlier that it's about us and what we do. So I hope that he follows that through into his team selection and into his team talk before he sends them out to play, to be honest, because it's a one-off. We've got nothing to lose. So hopefully we'll go for it.
Didn't we say that before the Slavia Prague game?
I think we've said it before every cup game, and the chances are that hopefully one time it will actually happen.
It does seem to, when we play the big teams, it is almost like you say, it's like he's scared to go for it. It's like, hold on, and sort of whether it's League Cup or whatever, but let's hold on, and we might only lose 1-0 or something, and it's a bit worrying that.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it before, that he's not particularly a brave manager or chance-taking manager. I think he likes to plot his way through a game almost, and therefore he's got this overall game plan, which is great as long as the other team decide that they're going to follow the game plan as well. But when they don't, as you say, it goes tits up a little bit.
Going to say good evening to Rob, and he says, "Evening, guys. Think the rest would have done us the world of good. They've had a busy week, so let's catch them cold." I mean, I don't know if you watched the game. I actually watched the game. So I was hoping it was going to go to extra time and penalties, but Pogba was on fire. I mean, the good thing with Pogba is you never know which Pogba's going to turn up. Sometimes he can be arsed, sometimes he can't. But it's got to work in our favour not having had that midweek game.
You would hope so. I mean, talking of Pogba, I didn't see the game, but I work with a Manchester United fan, and he told me that Pogba was fantastic, and it almost took the weight off the shoulders of Bruno Fernandes that he wasn't carrying the team. So that's a little bit ominous, and Pogba tends to play well against us, which is ominous again. But you would hope that because they've had to play, they've had to travel back. that maybe Ollie will rotate the team a little bit, so they may not be as fluid. I guess we'll cling to anything because it's an FA Cup quarter-final, and our record in quarter-finals of recent years isn't great. So I think, again, we talked about it last week where there wasn't an excuse for us not to go out and beat Sheffield United, and we did it. There's no excuse for us not to have a real good go in this game. I think if we were still in the Europa League, then there would be some excuses. If we had a midweek game, there'd be some excuses next week coming up, but we've not. We're getting 7 days rest in between games at the moment. There is no excuse not to go and get on the front foot and take the game to Manchester United.
I mean, as I say, I was watching the game, and that first 45, I thought, this could be interesting to play like that. But when Pogba came on, like I say, he just changed the game and he virtually ran it. But you just don't know what you're getting with Pogba, do you? Like I say, he does seem to play well against us. But if he's in one of those moods and he'll think, I don't know if I can be bothered today, he doesn't perform, that will hopefully work in our favour. So we're going to say, hope that he has one of those games.
Hopefully, depending on where he plays, if he plays in the little pocket in the number 10, what you would hope is that indeed he would get in and around him early on, let him know that he's not going to have it all his own way, and get him rattled a bit, because he does get rattled, Pogba. He's one of those players that can get thrown off his game if you get in and around him. He'll either be trying too hard or trying to do something too fancy, or he'll end up getting himself booked because he'll get frustrated. So I would hope that indeed he'll see this as a challenge to prove his own credentials, that he can take out one of the most talented players on his day out of the game.
Just to sidetrack for a second, because Rob's but here watched the Slavia game, and there will probably be Arsenal as well. I've got to be totally honest with you. Slavia Prague, I mean, Rangers imploded again, and I didn't know Morales, could get his foot up that high to give him 6 more, holes in his face, the goalkeeper. Yeah, we would have been meeting Arsenal, of course, but Slavia Prague, I don't feel quite so bad losing to them now, because they're looking a half decent team. But a very quick mention, and we must give all our sympathies to Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, wasn't that a shame, But
I know. I mean, it's sad, just to see someone who used to be great go through some tough times and then look like they were just getting over it again and getting back to former glories of mixing in and around the 5th and 6th spots fall away again. It's very, 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 very sad times. Not.
And as somebody mentioned, Pochettino went on and won a cup within a week of being at PSG. But hey ho! But no, let's going back to obviously the more pressing thing, which is Manchester United this Sunday. Our last 2 matches, I mean, going back to earlier in the season, Boxing Day, we seem to play them a lot on Boxing Day. 2-2, they very kindly scored 3 of the goals. And then obviously it was the last game of the season, almost like it was a Champions League playoff, and they picked us to 4th place. We are in a different place now, though, aren't we, than we were then?
Yeah, I think we are, and I think the team are individually and collectively using last year as a benchmark to see their own progression and how they've developed as a team. And games like that one, the Champions League playoff, as you said, is one that they surely must use as some kind of motivation to show how far they've come. I mean, they actually let Lingard score in that game. And basically rebooted his career. So I think we are a different proposition. Just when we thought maybe we'd be running into a tough run of fixtures, that we've stepped up. We saw in the last 3 games we talked. I remember us talking against Burnley about the game against Burnley, the pre-game, and you asked me if I would take a point before that game. And I said, no, not really, but a point would be good if over those 3 games we get 7 points, and we have got 7 points. So we did what was expected of us. We actually lived. Yeah, we. But I say, we've lived up to the expectations that we're setting for ourselves. And now we've got to go and do that against the next set of teams, the top, the bigger clubs, so-called. That we've got to prove ourselves in those games as well. Yeah. So I think the team his first week's presentation again from 2 years ago this week, and talked about whether they'd achieved the goals that he set for them when he first came into the club, and most of them they had. So now it's about setting another set of goalposts and achievements, and starting to move towards working on those. So hopefully the team, have progressed, and we'll see it against Manchester United.
Almost a bit like Claudio, which was, first target is to get to 40 points and stay up. Then the next one was to make the top 6. Talking of the top 6, here's a club that have forgotten what it's like to be in the top 6. And I want to bring in and say good evening to Miss Melina. Hello there. How the devil are you? We always talk on the Man United fan channel, Rich Sports, who did the opposition view last night for me. Even though he did call me Leicester Fan TV, I'll forgive him. But Miss Miller, are you a gooner or is that a goner? I can never read the difference between a gooner and a goner. My favourite Leicester fan channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Stick your fan channel in as well, Miss Melina, and I'll put it up for you so we can all come on and give you a bit of abuse. I mean, give you a bit of banter. Nice to see you, Miss Melina. Thanks for coming in, Rob. Hopefully, Ricardo and Pratt are fit for the bench. We'll come on to that later. I think it's a no and a yes on that, to be honest with you. But form going into the game. It's as near as damn it, pretty much the same. There's only 1 point, and that's been it. We can't seem to sort of, every time we draw, they draw, we draw, they lose, we lose. It's one of them. But looking at that, there's going into the game, really, we don't have anything to be overly scared about.
No, not at all. I'm going to say, if we said that we're matching up result for Manchester United, then at the start of the season, then I'm sure most people will be quite happy. And I think the thing is that every time you can look at this 2 ways, can't you? You can look at it as, we've been playing first, but we've never managed to get away from Manchester United. But what we've been doing is setting the benchmark to say that they can't afford to rest on the laurels. They have come through with the results, even though we would hope that we would get a couple of points ahead. But we're like we did. It's almost like, let's take Manchester City out of it, and let's look at it as Leicester and Spurs. From the Champions season.
You're sounding very robotic there, Craig, and we're getting every other word.
Yeah. Is that better? Am I okay? Am I there?
You're coming and going.
Can you hear me? Right.
Yeah, we can hear you, but you're freezing on screen at the moment.
What I was trying to say is, like, we're not dropping away, okay? Someone's paid a lot of money to get me off the screen, haven't they?
Before was the 4-minute version of the answer. Afterwards was the 1-line version of the answer. We're not dropping away. We're not. I mean, we know Man United have played a couple of good games. I mean, they had the game against Milan. In that second half, like I say, they were good, in fairness to them. And of course, they had the win over Man City, which I've got to be totally honest with you, came right out the blue.
Ooh. It did, and it was a disappointing one, wasn't it? To be honest,
yes.
We've that's about right. It's one of those where you you wanted Man City to get one over them, and we would finally nudge ourselves in front. But you know, we are hanging in there. We are getting the results. We're not dropping away. We're responding to any pressure at the moment. So I think we have to see it as similar to, as I say, I was going to say the Championship, where you know Spurs are the 5th place team, as it were, and we're just keeping our heads above water and not giving them any cause for concern that we may drop away. We're hanging in there. We didn't last season. So I mean, it's interesting now. Are we going to miss out on a potential top 4? I think what we've shown is the depth of the squad and how well Brendan has rotated the squad and used the squad to actually get the results when we need them. So I mean, I think if you'd have looked at that a few weeks ago and said we were going to miss Maddison and Barnes and James Justin, obviously, I mean, we talked about, but Maddison and Barnes, we were where the goals were going to come from.
Yeah.
And then people are stepping up and taking their opportunities.
They are indeed, and it's nice to see. You know, like you say, I was worried, as Miss Molina said there. You know, Maddison and Barnes, they'd have been in that England squad. There's no doubt about it. You know, and possibly James Justin as well. If not, it's certainly in the unders. And you had to look at that and think, God, what's going to happen? Because Vardy's not on fire at the moment, and yet suddenly, at Sheffield United, try something a bit different. And Vardy becomes the provider, and Inacho is suddenly on fire. And credit where credit's due, that's probably the best game I've seen him have in the City Blue. That's Leicester City, by the way, not Manchester City.
Yeah, I mean we've talked about it all season. I think about Kelechi being a confidence player, and you could see that oozing out of it. I mean, for the hat-trick goal, you know, for taking that shot on where he had players better position possibly. So he's oozing with confidence, and what you also get from him, that he's a really nice guy. You know, his after-match interview was fantastic, and you saw how emotional he was after he got that 3rd goal. That you know that he's been through a lot. I think we often look at footballers, don't we, from afar, and I think that they're just sort of, you know, paid a hell of a lot of money and they just turn up and play football. But if you've got any pride in you, personal pride, you know that you want to do better. You want to be known as a top player. And, you know, he moved from Manchester City to try and get that opportunity with us, and it's not worked out for him. So that outpouring of emotion was fantastic to see, to be honest. And what you want now is for him to kick on again and show that it wasn't, it's not a bit of a flash in the pan. I
mean, whoever came in was going to have the problem. Obviously, we you know, while we've got Jamie Vardy, because we were always going to play second fiddle to Jamie. Now that we've sort of, that has happened on Saturday, and I know it's only one game, and I know we've had false dawns in the past, but if that form is continued, and even Perez had a good game, but it's almost like you can't drop him now, Inacho. You've got to play him and Vardy up front.
I think if you look at it a little bit deeper, you know, it's a really good sign. It should be a really good sign for all Leicester City fans, because what we thought before was, how can we replace Jamie Vardy? And we were looking for like player, so someone who would attack the space in behind. Those players are few and far between. If we're now looking at, can we replace Jamie with someone who's got a bit more of an all-round game, because we're slightly changing the way we're playing with a more advanced player alongside Jamie, so he's part of a 2. That gives us more options going forward in terms of who we might want to look for as a long-term replacement for Jamie, because you can't build a sort of long period of success around a player and the way that player plays, you know, because they're not ten a penny. So we would be, if we didn't evolve the way we play and we just continue to play with, let's try and get the ball in behind for a Jamie, you know, whoever it may be to run onto. then we're going to be limited on what we can do in the transfer window. So I think it's really encouraging to see how Brendan is evolving that partnership, and almost like at the front three.
And if we look at how both teams got here, you could definitely say, we've had the easier run. I mean, that said, we've had 3 away games, but we played better away from home. But, we had Stoke City, beat them 4-2, Brentford 3-1, Brighton 2-1. Well, that was a game I'd tried to erase from my memory. Where Man United, yes, they've been at home 3 times. This is their first away tie. But they've had Watford, who were not so long ago a Premier League team, Liverpool, and that was a surprise result when it happened. And, of course, West Ham wasn't easy for them. So this is not going to faze them at all.
No, I think it'll be interesting to see how they view us these days. Whether they see us as the position that we are in the table, and therefore we should be given some due respect, or whether they see us as a bit of an easy touch and probably one of the teams they would have liked to have had at this stage because of their record that they got over us. Because if you can look at those, I mean, Watford and West Ham, you take out the Liverpool, where they clearly had to up their game, got a few goals. The other two, they've both sort of scraped them 1-0. Whether they sort of take themselves, take their foot off the gas a little bit against what they perceive to be so-called lesser teams, that we may benefit from that, on the back of them playing in the week as well. I think an early a quick start.
Did you watch the Man United West Ham game in the last round?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, because I watched it, and honestly, West Ham were bloody awful.
Yeah, I was really disappointed, to be honest. It was like they were just trying to hang in the game until the last 20 minutes. As I say, that's fine, having that kind of game plan. But if the opposition go and score, then... but as soon as they came out, committed men forward, it looked like they could have got something from it. So I think, hopefully Brendan sees that Manchester United are vulnerable if you go at them. Yeah.
And I mean, I was speaking, like I say, to Richard from Rich Sports, at Rich Sports 7 on Twitter, who did the opposition view, like I say, from Manchester United. And he was very complimentary of Leicester. And he says, none of the games that they played in have actually been necessarily easy. And no, they didn't actually look at this and think this is, an easy game for us. I mean, apart from Bournemouth, and no disrespect to them, but they are in the Championship. I think most teams there are Premier League teams anyway. And you would say, would you sooner have Leicester than Man City? Of course they would. We'd sooner have Bournemouth than Man United. But, it did show us a lot of respect. But going on to the point that Rob made before, it looks like we're going to be out again without Ricardo Pereira, who's got a minor hamstring strain. It's not easy for me to say. But Pratt, Dennis Pratt looks like he could be available. Pereira's not been back that long.
No, I think they took him off precautionary. He felt a little something, and I think they're probably going to do that now. Because they've got the strength. I mean, obviously it helped, with the game that we were playing, that they could afford to take him off. But I think if there's any little twinge, I think they've all been given the instructions that if you feel anything, you raise it, and then we take you off and nurse you through. And I think because it's a cup game, I don't think they would risk him for this. And it'll be interesting to see Brendan's point of view for the next league game. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit with Man City, or whether he thinks, right, we'll just, we're not going to catch Man City. Anything we got there would be a bonus, and whether he almost gives that one up, I'm not sure, and then protects his players for the run-in. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think there was any way he's going to risk anyone in this game, because it is a one-off cup game, and the bigger prize is the top 4.
And also, you've got to think that any manager worth the salt would sooner lose a player for one game than risk playing him when you have got, if it's the last game of the season, for example, it won't matter. But, you don't want to play him, gets injured, and then he's out for 6 or 7 games and the season's virtually over. So it does make sense if they don't play him. Now, Man United forward Marcus Rashford was taken off after feeling an unspecified twinge, so he could be a doubt. But like we said, Paul Pogba, he only played 45 minutes. He's almost certainly going to start, and let's hope he isn't on the same form he was on. David De Gea and Donny van de Beek were unused substitutes, but Henderson had a very good game in goal. But it might come too soon for Edison Cavani, Anthony Martial, and also Eric Bailey will be assessed. So they've got their problems as well.
They have, they have got a good squad though. It's funny the way that Ollie sets his team up. They're doing well, aren't they? I mean, you've got to hats off to them. He was someone who looked to be clinging to his job earlier in the season. They're in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. They're still in the FA Cup. They're second in the Premier League. So hats off to him. But he does set his teams up in a very strange way to me. This is Man United, who he played in a team that was very gung ho. Yet he constantly sets them up with 2 midfielders, which is a strange one. And it'd be interesting to see how that works with us. The way that we're trying to play now with a little number 10 in the pocket. Obviously, it's going to be a very different game than it was against Sheffield United, because whoever plays in that little pocket is going to be coming up against 2 defensive midfielders. So it may be a little bit of a cagey game, this. But yeah, they've got injuries, but they have got a big enough squad to cope with it, I think.
Funny thing is, again, having spoken to Richard, is that for most teams, quarterfinal of a European competition, quarterfinals of the FA Cup, and finishing second in the league would guarantee that you're going to, at least have one more season at the club. But for a club like Man United, they need to win a trophy. That's what the fans are saying. Whatever type of trophy it is, they need to win a trophy. And they got through to 3 semi-finals last year, and they bottled it in every single one. And that is the question mark over Ollie, to be honest with you. But, I say it's a long way till the end of the season. Say hi, David Gamble. You predicted a high-scoring game against Sheffield United. What are you going to predict for this game? Let me know, because I want to go to the bookies afterwards. And Roy, good evening. Do you think Pogba will play, just come back from injury? We were talking about this earlier. To be honest with you, I think after the difference he made to the game when he came on for them in Europe against AC Milan, there's no way that he can't be played. It's that time, Craig, when we're going to have a look, and Craig's going to put his managerial... I think you should get a hat, so that when I say you put your managerial hat on, you've actually got one you can pop on your head there. But we're going to have a look at the team that you think... You will indeed. David, you've let me down now. I thought you were going to go for a 4-0 or something like that and really go for it again. Let's just take a quick 10-second break, then we're going to come back and Craig will put his Brendan's hat on. Not his Ewan's hat, his Brendan's hat on, and we will see what he thinks Brendan will do this weekend. So we'll be right back after this.
Hi, Alan Smith here. Be sure to watch and listen to Chris on Leicester Till I Die TV. You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels. Up the Foxes!
The scary thing about that, when I said to my son that, I've got Alan Smith coming on, he's going to do a jingle for me. And he went, is he the guy that does FIFA? No, he's the guy that used to play for Leicester with Harry Lineker and scored lots of goals. I'm getting old. I'm getting too old.
Blame the parents.
Exactly. Now then, this is going to be interesting, guys, if you are watching, because this is a piece of technology that I've only just quickly looked at before we came live tonight, and it could go absolutely tits up, and we'll have to go to plan B. And I do have a plan B, unlike certain football managers. But let's have a look and see if this is going to work. It is looking good so far. So this is the team that Craig thinks we should play and thinks Brendan might go for. And you know Brendan watches this, Craig, don't you? So he will be getting his notepad out there. That's what he does in the game. You think he's making notes? He's comparing to see what team you've booked and cross it out. Right, I think the goalkeeper, is that a bit of a given here?
Yes, I don't think there's any reason to give Danny Ward a game, to be honest. So I know you've got this. Now, did you have to? I was hoping that you might have to spell Schmeichel to make that work properly, Chris, because that could have kept us here all night.
No, it actually works under Casper, but in Inacho, if you picked Inacho, that's the one because it won't find it under Kelechi, so that's the one I have difficulty with. Okay, what should we go for now then? You've gone 3 at the back because you've gone. Tell us about the formation first of all, because you've gone for the old Terry Venables Christmas tree.
Yeah, I've gone for the Christmas tree, and I think, to be honest, it was pretty much what Brendan and I agreed to go with last week. I think if you looked at the team he selected last week, I think there was only one difference, that he brought Perez in, and whereas I had Tavares, because Brendan decided not to let me know that Perez was fully fit. So, but apart from that, I think the sort of lineup and the formation was pretty much the same. But I think, because it was. I had the feeling that he wanted to bring Evans back, but there was no way that he was going to drop either Soyuncu or Fofana, and I think that dictates the shape of the rest of the team, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And it was in.
So you've gone for the back
to see forward Fofana got.
Mm. So I must admit, I always get nervous with a 3 at the back because. I think we played better with a 4, and I said this to you last week. And that said, and I can see again, I can understand totally why you've gone for this when we see the players that we're going to put in. But I am a little bit worried because this is Man United, not Sheffield United. They've just sacked the manager, so I think we could have played an 8-1-1 and still got 5 past them, but. You're confident with the 3 at the back, so let's have a look. Who are you going to play at that on the left side of the back 3?
That'll be Soyuncu.
Soyuncu. You'll be impressed with this.
I can understand. I am impressed. I can understand, and yes, it's a tricky one. This one, playing a back 3, because Manchester United do like to play with wide players, so it could cause us a few little problems in terms of the 2 centre halves being pulled out wide. But I think, as I say, he just likes that middle 3 now, so I think he's going to stick with it for a while. So Evans in the middle next to Soyuncu.
And to be honest with you, even like I think we said before, is let me just click on the right one here. When you have a back. The back 3 like you do, and then the left and right midfield wingers, if they come back, which they should do as part of that, you have got the 5 at the back.
Exactly. So it's like a bit of insurance policy, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So Evans, I think you agreed. I mean, Soyuncu, the worry for me was, and I can't remember what the game was exactly. They're all merging into one, but the game before. Sheffield United, Soyuncu looked totally out of place, and I know he wasn't particularly the strongest test he was going to have against Sheffield United, but he did look a lot better.
Yeah, I think it was Brighton, wasn't it? And I mean, Brighton do like to move the ball around, and they're quite clever in the way that they try and move players around. And you're right, he did struggle a little bit, and he got pulled out into areas that you wouldn't really want him to. So, Man United could do that again. I mean, they've been playing Dan James quite a lot on the wide side, and that's a little bit of a worry in terms of pace because he does get in behind. But I think with the backup of who we'll have in front of Soyuncu, I think he'll be okay, to be honest. So the back 3 will be completed with Fofana.
Had to just do a little bit of a search there for him. So that's the defence. They got Schmeichel in goal, which, yeah, I think you say. And it's the back three that, he has gone with for the last 2 games. So, and again, we'd gone because of the injuries. We had seemed to have gone from the 4 to the 3 at the back. But the more games they have as a 3, the more they're going to settle, the better they're going to get. So this is the 3rd game as a 3. They should be sort of getting more used to it.
Yeah, I think they all looked a little bit more comfortable. As I say, it was interesting how far forward Fofana got, particularly on the right hand side. He was almost stretching it out, so Soyuncu and Evans became a back 2, to be honest, because Fofana was almost playing like a wing back at times. So there is that flexibility with this, that the players can move around and fill in, and I think that's what Brendan wants. He wants to have more options on the pitch to pose questions to the opposition. So, and I think we're still a team who are evolving, and the players learning to play these systems and switch between them. So move into midfield there, Chris.
Sorry, so the left centre midfield.
So these two sitting. Provided a bit of a solid base recently, haven't they? Ndidi will go in there.
Yeah, and the other one is going
to be Tielemans. Now, I talked about Tielemans before, and how important he seems to be for Brendan. And I likened him to being Brendan's quarterback, but the way these games are going now, the way things are moving, and we know Brendan loves to be a student of the game, and he sees the game almost like a chess match these days, I think, and in the nicest possible way. I think Tielemans is like his queen in a chess match, who can go anywhere and yeah, I thought I might have to be careful with you, Chris. But he's that important of a player. I think he's become the most important player, I think, to Brennan. So he plays him in that thing that he goes forward, but you can see him during the games now dictating and pointing around the pitch, and he's becoming like that sort of leader on the pitch. And Brendan's, as I say, Brendan's chess queen, as you were. But he's come on leaps and bounds this season.
Yeah, just sticking with the defensive part of the team there, which obviously with Ndidi it still is. When you look at the goals we've conceded, it actually is quite interesting. I mean, Man City have conceded 21, but they're out on their own. Both United and ourselves have conceded 32, as have West Ham United, Liverpool, Everton, Tottenham are 30, Chelsea are 25. So, we've not got the tightest of defences.
No, and I think I mean it comes with that balance, doesn't it? That you see somebody at the minute, for instance, who's the bishop? Well, yeah, leave that one with me, Rob. Well, what I would say is that, let's, for instance, look at Chelsea since Tuchel has been in. I think they've conceded 2 goals, but they're not scoring many. They are winning, and they're doing really well. But he hasn't found that balance yet.
No,
I think we're in the process of finding that balance. As it stands at the minute, we're scoring more, and we're not conceding a lot of goals. We are conceding what you would say regularly most games. We're surprised when we get a clean sheet, but we are creating more chances, and it's about finding that balance at the moment.
It is, and the point you've made just there, Chelsea have actually only scored 44 goals this season. So although they've conceded less, like you say, they've scored less. We've got 53, albeit we got 5 at the weekend. But, sometimes you go and you play these teams at the bottom and you do sneak the 1-0 but we didn't. You know, we put them to the sword. We got the 5 points, the 5 goals, I should say. 5 points, that'd have been nice.
That'd be nice.
Yes, that's the way I do it, and FIFA can come and tell me what they want. Right, let's move on to. Yeah, I'm playing by FIFA rules here. I'll set Blatter there. Right, left midfield. What we're going to go in with that one there, Rob? Craig, even.
You're getting your viewers mixed up, aren't you? So Castagna.
Castagna.
So I mean, he's a really good athlete, isn't he, Timothy Castagna? Yeah. He loves to get forward, but he does know his defensive role as well, and he does offer that that sort of protection on the left hand side for Soyuncu, who can get pulled around a little bit. So yeah, Castagna on the left, and then on the right would have been Ricardo, but as the news, as Brendan called me this afternoon and told me about Ricardo, so we've gone with Albrighton.
And just
I did toy with. Sorry, go on, Chris.
No, I was going to just quickly go back to Castagna. Of course, he is a defender by trade, so he has got that defensive mindset. But he is becoming a bit of a utility player, and he can be played in numerous positions.
He is. And I think it's one of the reasons that I think Brendan went for him. You know, and very similar to how JJ had been playing before his injury. You know, just making the extra man in attack. And I mean, JJ had a fantastic season, and I really hope that he comes back just as strong as he did before. But, you know, we've got these almost utility people now. So that allows Brendan to switch between a back 3 and a back 5 or a back 4, but with the same personnel, which makes it better. So it means he can change in the game without having to use subs. So I think those kind of players are becoming more and more important. And I think he likes intelligent players, and you need intelligent players to be able to play those kind of roles. I did toy with bringing Campbell in on the right-hand side just for the additional pace that he would bring. But I think in a game against Manchester United, I think that Brendan will go with the greater experience of Albrighton.
And he hasn't let us down, has he, in fairness, this season?
No, he's not at all. He's had a couple of games where I would say that his performance has dipped, but dipped beyond the heights of where he played earlier in the season, which was probably better than we all thought. But you know he's going to give you a solid 7 out of 10, 8 out of most weeks. And as I say, it's the kind of player that Brendan likes.
Yeah, and I think with one of the forwards that you've gone for, you know, that can get onto the end of his crosses, that obviously benefits from his inclusion as well. So who are we going to go for the left forward?
So obviously these 3 are going to be the same as we had before, and although we're putting them in positions, they are very interchangeable, as we saw that in the last game. So we'll put Perez there.
And do you think he's earned his inclusion? Because he did play well against Sheffield United.
I think so. I think the 3 of them with Vardy and Iheanacho, I thought they linked up really, really well. I think, and I think it seemed to take a bit of the sort of the weight off Jamie's the weight off Jamie's shoulders a little bit. No, he didn't tell me that, Rob, about my wages. I'll be having
You're getting paid. You're getting paid.
Yeah, I get his cast off suits. They don't fit me because he's a very, very tiny man. But the 3 of them played really well, and I think that the way the 3 of them changed places a lot. You know, Perez. We've said this before about Perez. He's an intelligent player, and he finds little pockets of space. I mean, the ball he played to Jamie was a fantastic ball for the first goal that Kelechi played, where the 3 of them combined for that. So I think he fully deserves another run out, and this three definitely deserve another run out to see how they can develop as a three.
I mean, again, I said in the pre-match show with Josh last week that it was a game that Perez had to stand up for, and Inacho as well. In fairness, because if you can't perform and do well against a team in Sheffield United's position that's just lost the manager, then you might as well pack up and go home. And in fairness to them both, they both did.
They did indeed, and they seem to enjoy it as well, didn't they? I mean, you would enjoy a 5-0 victory, but they seem to enjoy the roles that they've been given, and being given that opportunity to go find space and get on the ball. It was great that they were linking up play and then following it the way that Albrighton picked out Perez for his goal, but also the confidence, So Perez and Iheanacho both scored from 22, 23, afraid to have a pop. So we're not exactly trying to walk the ball in. On another day, we'd have scored another 9 against Sheffield United.
Yes. In fact, I think one of I'm not sure whether it was the manager or temporary manager or one of the players said it could have been another 9-0, but we got Iheanacho back in there. I mean, he's played for the blue half of the city. Let's hope he wants to get a bit of revenge on the red half of the city.
Let's hope so, indeed. He's got an opportunity now, isn't it? There's a lot of spotlight on him now. He's taken all the plaudits of last week. A lot of people have said a lot of nice things. The real thing is now, can you do it again against a top team? So, this is a big moment for him.
Yeah. Like you say, we've had false dawns in the past. This is where technology does get the better of me, because for some reason, when I type this next gentleman in, his picture doesn't appear, which is absolutely brilliant. But it is Vardy, obviously, up front. It has to be. And again, I think, you look at both ends, Schmeichel and Vardy, and you don't have to question either of those decisions, do you, really?
No, not really. I think his image probably doesn't come up, Chris, because Rebecca Vardy's controlling his image rights.
No. Oh, boom, boom. That's the joke of the series there. I doubt your... So that's still going on, isn't it? But yeah, there's your team. So like we've said, Schmeichel in goal, Christmas tree formation with Soyuncu on the left of the back three, Fofana on the right, and Evans doing his patrolling in the middle. Ndidi and Tielemans, 2 in midfield. Ndidi with obviously the holding role. Castagna and Albrighton, the experience. They both sort of can defend. And then you say the 3 exchangeable up front, and I've been able to get his picture on this one. Kelechi, Perez, and Mr. Vardy there. So, on paper, it looks a really, really, really good team. Fingers crossed that it will be.
Yeah.
Looking forward, because we have got a bit of a tough couple of games coming up. Not saying they're going to be season defining, but we've got Man City next week, but we've got a week off until we have to sort of play them. We've got them at home. Then we've got West Ham away. It would be nice, I think, to get... Would you want 4 points from those 2 games?
How many? Sorry, Chris?
4.
4 from... I think so. I think you've got to be looking at. Let's take the. I don't think he could, Rob. I think it was a very small space that he could get his picture in. I think looking at that, I think you've got to take. Let's take Manchester City game out of the equation. Our season is those next 4 games. West Ham, Palace, West Brom and Southampton. That's our season because you don't want to be going into the last 3 games knowing that you're playing catch up or you've got to keep people off your tail. That's when the pressure is going to come. Now, if we get, let's say, I mean, ideally, as I say, put Manchester City to one side, you'd be looking at 10 points out of the next 12. 10 points onto what we've got with a little bit of a gap we've got. You would think we'd be looking pretty good for a top 4 finish at that point. And he can manage those games. If it means let's do everything we can just to make sure that we're not beaten by Chelsea. We're not beaten by Manchester United. Spurs are nothing special at the moment. Maybe we can get under the 3 points there. But I think Brendan's season is going to come down to those 4 games.
Rob, I don't like you, mate. I can mute you on this, I suddenly stopped liking Rob, I'll tell you. But yes, I mean, to me, those games there that we have after the Man City, if we get anything from Man City, it's going to be a bonus. West Ham, that is going to be a difficult one because they're having for them a reasonably good, or a very good season. Let's be honest with you. They were thinking they were going to be fighting relegation, but then you've got to look at West Brom, and these are at home. 3 of the 5 are at home, but West Brom should be 3 points. Palace, there's no reason why we've got 3 points, and although we're going away to the Saints, unless they suddenly have a big turnaround in form, they are almost in free fall at the moment. So you've got to look. If we can get past United in the Cup and put that to one side, like you say, anything with Man City is a bonus. Those 3 games, like you say, if we can get 9 points from those 3 games, not guaranteed, but you should be saying a top 4 should be reasonably safe.
You would think so, yeah. I mean, the only little bit we've got, because we want to protect the 3rd spot. We shouldn't even be thinking about 4th, because what you've got, hovering in the background is the thought of Liverpool going and winning the Champions League. Now, I know that's not necessarily likely to happen, the way that they are playing. But my understanding, I think if they go on and win the Champions League, then that 4th spot may not be a champion. Then they can tell us whether that's true or not.
You broke up again totally there, Craig. I think what you were saying was that if Liverpool win the Champions League, that we lose a place then from the qualifying. Is that what you were saying?
My understanding, again, I have been wrong in the past.
No.
I know. I'm surprised as well. But my understanding is that then, if a team who finishes outside the top 4 but then wins the Champions League, they will take the spot, and the 4th place would go down into the Europa League. I'm hoping that's wrong, but it's a worry.
Let's have a look, because I haven't done a score prediction with the X-Foxes this week, because we only do that with the Premier League. But as tempted as I am to go for my favourite scoreline, I'm actually going to be a bit different, and I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this game. Jason, I hope you've got a note from your mother, and I expect you to email that note over to me. And I don't expect you to be using your own fake handwriting. I need to see your mother has got to sign it and say why you were late. I want to know. No, joking apart, nice to have you, Jason. Welcome along. Come in just as we're about to go. But I'm going to go. Actually, I think there'll be a lot of goals. I do really think there'll be a lot of goals. I have a feeling it might even be a 3-2. I'm going to go 3-2 to Leicester.
Is that in normal time, or are you going after extra time? Because obviously we're in the extra time and penalties business.
We are. I think normal time.
Yeah.
I just have two teams that are going to be going for it, and they'll leave gaps at the back, and we are prone to concede a goal, but I think if Inacho and Perez and Vardy get on fire again, there's no reason why. So yeah, I'm going to go with the 3-2. What about yourself, Craig?
Well, you know, much as it, you know, it pains me to have to agree with you, Chris. So I won't.
Oh, you won't.
I'm going to go for.
You've only ever agreed with me once, but you got it right.
And it was right. I'm going to go 2-1, but I think it may be after extra time.
You see, I would have gone 2-1, but I've gone 2-1 for about the last 6 weeks. I just thought I've got to be different. Well, whatever way it goes, 2-1 or 3-2, let's hope we can get through. Oh, Rob, no, I can't be doing with pens. My heart won't take it. If it's penalties, I'm going to borrow the neighbour's dog and go for a walk at the end. Jason, I like your confidence, mate. 3-0. That's what we like, a bit of confidence there. But now, before we go, and Craig didn't know anything about this, but you might remember a while ago, and this is just a one-off. We're not something I'm going to introduce every week yet, but Rob always used to ask me a question at the end. So I thought, why don't we ask Craig a question? And bless him, like I say, he doesn't know anything about it. Look, he's sweating now. His throat's gone dry. It's very easy. It's an on this day question. So on this day in 1975, Leicester City drew 1-1 with Liverpool at Filbert Street. Frank Worthington was on target for Leicester. An ex-Leicester target was an ex-Leicester target was on target for Liverpool. Do you know who that player was who got the equaliser for Liverpool?
I don't, but I would guess at Toshak.
Are you guessing, or is that your final answer?
I'm going to go with John Toshak.
And you would be completely correct to do that, sir. It was John Toshak. Apparently, he'd been on the brink of joining the Foxes 4 months earlier, and £160,000. My God, that was a lot of money back then. And a medical query led to the deal falling through. But then you could say the same about Frank Worthington coming to us.
Yeah, I'm going to say that happened. Yeah, he was due to go to Liverpool, wasn't he? But failed the medical.
Was indeed.
So
yeah,
swings and roundabouts on that one. But thanks for dropping that one on me, Chris.
You're welcome, mate. Won't do it every week. It was purely a one-off because I have a new book, Leicester City. On this day, I thought it wasn't a too difficult one, that, because it obviously wasn't going to be Kevin Keegan.
Thanks for giving me
the credit. Excuse me. Craig, thanks very much for joining us, as always, mate. It's been a pleasure. Your knowledge. You are the wise old sage, as you nickname. I think you should have that come up. Should we see everybody if he's got that as his name? Because I haven't got that on now, but let's have a look. What have we got? He's only got Craig. No, you should have wise old sage there. But anyway,
let's drop the old.
I will see you next Friday when we'll be talking blue instead of red as we con Manchester City. God help us. Yeah.
Indeed.
But as always, Craig, thank you so much, mate. It has been a pleasure. And your knowledge is immense, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. Stay safe.
Take care. Thanks to Craig there. He really does know his stuff, which is really, really good because I don't. So he is the one with the brains and the Leicester City knowledge between us. Hey, if you've enjoyed the show, it's been great to have you along. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Just to let you know, if you want to watch this back, Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube, please give us a subscribe. We would thank you forever. And if you prefer to listen to it rather than watch us, God knows why you'd want to do that, but you might want to do it while you do the washing up for the missus. If she's put a 9 p.m. curfew on you, you can listen to us on your favourite podcast platform, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Google, and Podcast Addict. And you can listen there, or just ask Alexa to, oops, and I've got to be careful what I say here because I nearly set my machine off, play Leicester Till I Die, the podcast. Fozzie's World, I love this because that was my nickname at school. Fozzie's World, I was Fozza, F-O-Z-Z-A. Come on, Leicester City. And you've got there. Thank you for this, Foz. It means the world. Quality channel, mate. Thanks very much. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and help us get to that 500. Day off tomorrow. Be nice that. Have a lie. I can't have a lie in. My son's coming. It's his birthday. So we're back on Sunday and we're going to have 3 shows. Join us at 4:10 for the pre-match show because the team will be announced at 4 o'clock. And I'll be joined by my chat chum Peter, and ex-Fox Richard Smith will be with us for the pre-match show and giving us his thoughts on the team that's been picked. Will he agree with Craig? Brendan, that is. That will be interesting. I think he's probably got a lot of it right, in fairness, as Craig. And we're doing the watch-along again this week at 4:55. Me and Josh, get it on the telly, BBC One, turn the sound down, listen to us swearing, join in with us and say a few things. Even come on camera if you want during the show. It'd be great to have you on. And then post-match, 7:30 Sunday night, put One Man and His Dog, an Antiques Roadshow on record. Come in and watch the post-match show with Brad. And again, another ex-Fox, Julian Watts. It's been great having you all along. Thanks very, very much for joining us. And a good luck from Ashley, Man United Football Club. United fan here. Good luck on Sunday. Cheers, Ashley. Got to be totally honest with you, mate. Can't say the same back. Bugger that. Let's hope it's a good game of football. May the best team win. Bugger it. We want Leicester to win. Sorry. Come on, City. We'll see you 4:10 on Sunday. Stay safe, guys. Have a good Saturday. Good night now.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all them social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.